Okay, welcome to tonight's 5 charts in 5 minutes. We might go a little bit over tonight because I want to just focus on looking at charts through multiple time frames just to get a different view on things. So let's have a look at a few charts and just have a look at what I'm getting at with this. And this first one here is Poseidon POS, which I mentioned today. I actually called it, I had an alert at 26, I think, so I had an alert on a break of this little bit of res here. 25 was the obvious one, but I'd allowed it a little higher. Hit 27, I hadn't got in, I think I twittered it at 27, and it just ran all day. That's the hourly chart. I'll actually show a 1 minute chart from today. Pretty well straight line up all day, and I just felt like I couldn't chase it, so pretty bad miss for me. This one, Poseidon, massive volume today, biggest volume in 12 months, I'd imagine, for much longer than that as well, so who knows what's going on. But you'd look at that, obviously you'd see a little bit of res up here at 39 as your next res, close at 35, but pretty strong days, so you feel like you've missed a lot of the move. But what if we go to a weekly 5-year chart? That's a weekly 5-year of Poseidon. There's that 39-cent res, but it looks like it's barely broken from its base once you pull a 5-year chart onto it. There's no volume on that. Let's put the volume on there. Okay, so there's the volume. I'm going to take that off because I want to try and get that underneath rather than that's better. Sorry. Okay, so there's the volume on that 5-year chart. It's a little bit of volume for the week for sure, but it certainly doesn't look nearly as overdone as it does on that daily. So as you can see, if you pulled to the weekly chart and took possibly a longer term view of this thing, you could come up with some different targets. There's a high from back in August 09 around the 49, so 49.50 might actually bring it into some area which could provide some resistance. Now, even as a short-term trader, you might not be going to hold this for days or weeks for it to get there, but if it does have sort of massive momentum kick in again tomorrow, at least you've got some ideas based on that weekly where there may be some levels of support and some potential target areas for where you might want to take your profits. Let's have another look. Look at another one. Sorry, this one's MOX, MOX. There's the daily. One of my favourite kind of trades because it's just under that 10-cent tick change. I love the 10-cent tick changes because all of a sudden every tick that goes up from here is 5%. So really handy profits, especially from a scalper. You can be in at 10 and selling some at 10.5 for a quick 5%, 11, 10%, and so on. So, but longer term, obviously there could be some much bigger gains in it. Massive volume in the last week or so. Has broken through the 7.5 res and has run pretty hard. 7.5, it's already up to 9, so fairly decent gains already. Yearly, you've got res right up to 16 here, and that was probably the last period of decent volume. So the chart would certainly suggest maybe around here at 11, which was previous support, could become resistance. Then you've got 16. But again, if we go to the weekly, it very similar to POS, looks like it's barely even broken this long basing 2-year this 2-year base here. So I think you'll find that's that res we're talking about. There's the 16. Back in 2007 it was $1.50 or something like that. So it certainly brings a whole new perspective to the look of that chart. So if you are a slightly longer term trader, you may look at this one for an initial break of this and then a much longer term position. I have no idea of the fundamentals of it, so I don't know whether it's fundamentally strong or not. Obviously, if you were looking at targets like that, you'd want to give your stop a lot, pardon me, a lot more room. So you'd probably drop your stop right back down to a break of that trend line right there, and give it some time. Make sure it keeps pulling in higher lows here, and give it that time to mature. I'm not in that one. I'm not in POS actually, so I missed POS and I was pretty dirty about that today. But that's what happens in this game, unfortunately. Right, this one's res, R-E-S. Again, another one that's come up on tonight's scans, but I'm not in at this stage. Looks like we're testing this support resistance up here again at 75. It's at 75 there, 74 there. It's closed at 74. So you'd think there's a fair chance. Let's go to a 2-year. There's a 2-year daily. Fair chance that we can get some upward momentum if it can break this 75-cent res. Again, the last couple of months has been pretty massive volume. So you'd suggest that there's a little bit of getting set going on here since December. Now we pull to the weekly 5-year, and again, back in 2008. Now I'm not for a minute suggesting some of these will get up to the lofty heights they were back then, but you were looking at $3, so 75 cents, really doesn't seem that overcooked at all. Next levels of res there look like they're around about the 92.5. What's that one there? Maybe 82, something like that. So that gives you again some ideas of targets if it breaks through this 12-month res. Now, I'll just quickly pull that weekly back up. We might just whack some fibs on this last range and just see whether that can give us some targets. I tend to ignore these massive tails, and we'll go from maybe that one there. We'll run it down to this most recent support. In fact, I'll just go to these lows here, I think. In fact, let's go right down to the bottom low. That's probably the correct space on a weekly to do it. There's some fibs, so even around almost towards the 150 marks to 38, so plenty of upside there if it decided to get some kind of decent run on. Again, I'm not for a moment suggesting that's where it's going, but just trying to get at the fact that if you do look at these weeklies, you will get a new perspective of what's possible for these charts, and possibly even in that short term. So as a short-term trader, oh, there goes the alarm. That's 5 minutes already. I'll try and squeeze 2 more in, but yeah, even as a short-term trader, there's still that potential off the weekly chart to get a bit of a feel for where these things might go. Right, 2 more quick ones. The next one's OEX. I think we've covered this on a video pretty recently as well. Okay, there's the 12-month chart. Bit of a double top shaping up here. 55 cent high there, 54.5 there. So it's looking like a bit of a double top. Support here around 42 may well have held. Kind of in no man's land here, but a little bit of a swing today. Needs to break that high there, which is 48, to suggest that a swing is in play. But would also like to see a little bit more volume kick in. Now, obviously, that 54, 55 is your first target. Go to weekly 5-year, and then you can see, that there's potentially way higher targets than that. Whack those fibs on this recent range, and so maybe around those low 70s, which could possibly coincide with this res here at 70 cents. So 70 cents might even be, one of your next targets, taking a longer term view. As a short-term trader, I might even go to the hourly chart, something like this, and get an idea whether I could take an aggressive entry. So obviously a 48 break on the hourly chart would form a swing as such. Maybe in there with my stop straight here at 45, and I could give that room on an hourly. That's a 15-minute, which doesn't really show too much. But I was flicking through a few of the time frames, and obviously not much going on today on the 1-minute chart. Alright, one more quick one. You have to excuse me today. I think I'm coming down with a bit of a throat bug because I'm a bit raspy today. Alright, PPX. It's been in a downtrend since May, but looks like it's trying to break this trend line now. It's pretty much broken the trend line. A little bit of sideways action and some really strong support at 40. Swing starting to take place now. Higher low here. A little bit of volume kick in, but you'd certainly want to see a little bit more volume. Probably this 47.5 res would be my signal for potential entry. I'm actually in none of these that I've shown tonight, so pretty unbiased look at them. Obvious targets in this you would suggest was up around the 50 mark, the highs of 51 there. Did have that spike to 54.5. And again, we'll go to the weekly. obvious support, resistance around this 82, 83, 84 mark. So that could be the next major area of resistance if this has some decent follow on. And again, let's throw some fibs over there. They're the fibs from the last one. I'll get them off. But we'll run some fibs from up here back in 07 to the bottoms. Well, that didn't work, did it? Let's try again. Run some fibs from there to there. And 38's coming up right here at about $1.70, so that's a fair bit of upside. Like I said, that this would certainly be my first area around the 83s, possibly around there. You'd be even looking at another area at $1.40, but again, plenty of upside. I can't imagine I'd be in for that long if I did buy it. But like I said, it's just helps create another piece of that picture when you're looking at trade and deciding what you want to do with it. Again, I might go to the hourly, see if I can see an obvious entry. There's 47.5, 48. So nothing really, stands out there. I'd still be certainly setting my alert for 47.5, 48 and looking for a break there. Now the hourly again just shows you a little bit more of a volume spike here on the break of this recent tight range, which doesn't show up so much on the daily. So there has actually been a little bit of volume kick in this on the break, so certainly it'll be one I'll be watching tomorrow. Alright, that'll do for tonight. Like I said, it was a little bit scrambled, but hopefully some of that made some sense. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.